the brother of one of the victims, Jessica Lloyd. The judge today in the Belleville court, Russell Wiliams will forever be remembered as a sadosexual serial killer. The depths of the depravity shown by Russell Wiliams have no equal. He has been sentenced to Kingston Pen, same edifice that houses Paul Bernardo. Russell Wiliams, 2 concurrent life sentences for sadosexual crimes. Email from George came in last night to charles@charlesadler.com. Chuck, please call Williams. No more Colonel Williams. Can't disagree with that. Another one to charles@charlesadler.com from Scott. Charles, I wish all in the media would stop referring to the monster as Colonel Williams. He's a demon. You can't compare this man to any animal on the planet. It would demean the animal. The title of Colonel has a high degree of honor associated with it. This creature has no honor. Colonel is the rank and title of a man or woman who has dedicated their lives to fight for people who cannot fight for themselves. The demon is exactly the type of monster that the real colonels of the world are fighting on a daily basis. Folks, the other day when I did my monologue, my name is not Russell Wiliams, I did my best to make the point that I could not accept the idea of a Canadian judge at the Ontario Appeals Court recommending that another Canadian judge at a lower court strike a bargain with a female wishing to have her head fully covered on the witness stand. The full niqab, not the hijab, not the headscarf that covers the top of the head, not just the burqa which covers the top of the head and most of the face. You can still see the eyes. No. The full deal, the niqab, the one that covers the eyes as well. The lower court judge ruled you cannot be in the witness box wearing that. The people you're accusing of committing a crime against you, they have a right to face their accuser. A right to look you in the eye. Canadian tradition. Western tradition. The appeal court said the lower court was wrong. A compromise could have been struck. And one possible compromise would be evacuating the courtroom of men, which, as you know by now, made me furious. The idea that we have to accept some premise that the reason women choose to be in this garb is to protect them against men who are predators, who are vicious, who have no morals, no manners, no impulse control. Don't Russell Wiliams me, Judge. Don't put that on me. Wiliams is the exception. Wiliams is the savage. Wiliams is why we men are sickened by him, don't want him to have titles. We don't even think of him as a man. We certainly don't think of him as a Canadian. And if I had my way, I certainly wouldn't think of him as alive for much longer. And we aren't programmed to be sickened by Wiliams. And we aren't programmed to be sickened by this ridiculous decision. Maybe the men just ought to clear the room. Not programmed by feminist women on this. We are sickened by Wiliams because he is everything a man is not supposed to be. He does not shield. He does not protect. He inflicts harm on the innocent. So I'm not going to have a judge jam Sharia philosophy down my throat. It's a foreign philosophy. It's foreign in every meaning of the term foreign. It's foreign to humanity. It's foreign to human dignity. The idea that we men need to be protected from our own impulses by having the ladies completely covered from head to toe. It's no compromise to tell the men to leave the room, Judge. If you think that's a good compromise, maybe you ought to leave the room. Maybe you ought to leave the country for some country where they might be happy to have you as a judge. There's still some of those that believe in this stuff. Question for the judges who believe in this stuff, this so-called compromise. Have the guys leave the room. Do you think you could ever be elected as a judge going to real people anywhere in this country with your platform, your election platform, saying that if women for religious reasons want to testify in court with no men in the courtroom, we will call that a reasonable accommodation? That's what I'm running on for judge. Think you'd get votes? Think you could win? It might get you Heather Mallick's vote. In her column in today's Toronto Star, after having spent several days in the Belleville courtroom at the trial of Russell Wiliams, Heather opens her column with the following. They bruise women's bodies. They humiliate us in the House of Commons. They expend great effort in keeping us pregnant, booting us away from the bigger salaries. They are tireless in their attempts at control and resent our efforts to advance. Frequently, they kill women. Russell Wiliams is a monster, but there will be other monsters in years to come. Words of Heather Mallick. You want more? She says, we know this to be true. I am a feminist, but all women know what I mean, because they live it every day. And these thoughts filled my mind this week, as I try to distract attention from a man I hate as much as I have ever hated anyone, that Russell Wiliams creature that put two beautiful, courageous women at the forefront of this case, Marie-France Como and Jessica Lloyd, fought for their lives with a bravery that left us all breathless as it was described in court. The narrative was so entirely, she writes, about male desire and male violence that the suffering of the female victims was overshadowed. And then it all changed. And then Heather Mallick writes a few paragraphs in praise of the men who investigated and prosecuted Russell Wiliams. But my point is simple. Heather Mallick and the judges on the Ontario Appeal Court, and Lord knows how many others in this country, buy into this line that we men are all playing in the Russell Wiliams League. Only some of us maybe play nicer than others. Well, Heather, judges, we are not in the Russell Wiliams League. We want no part of him. And if you took a real poll, you would find the overwhelming majority of real men would want Russell Wiliams punished to the max. I would ask any ordinary Canadian to look at the detailed and graphic evidence. Pictures downloaded from the Colonel's own computer, the Colonel's own confession. I would ask any ordinary Canadian qualified to sit on a Canadian jury to look at what's crawling out of the Colonel's sewer and look me in the eye and tell me that this man should not get the death penalty. There's no possibility here of wrongful conviction, wrongful prosecution, none of the usual reasons given against the death penalty. Only the tired, shop-worn cliches are left on this one. You've heard them. If Canada gives this monster the needle, then we're as barbaric as he is. Really? Does anyone truly believe that? Every time the people of this country are asked to buy something that does not have the ring of truth, the ring of justice, we become diminished as a country.
The complex